Boebert is facing some criticism for suggesting that Capitol Police were involved in last week's riots during a GOP conference call in which Republicans discussed their concerns about the attacks. Now, Mediaite reports that according to multiple reports on the contents of that conference call led by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Boebert, who is a conspiracy theorist, by the way, told her fellow members that the Capitol Police may have been involved in the deadly incident. Now, look, to be sure, there should be an investigation into why the Capitol Police were not prepared, especially with weeks and weeks of threats made regarding Congress certifying the Electoral College votes. It seems like it was intentional. The Pentagon says that they offered members of the National Guard in order to help assist with the possibility of violence breaking out, and the Capitol Police denied that. But to be clear, Boebert is not trying to hold police accountable for being sympathetic to these insurrectionists. She's just trying to place the blame on anyone other than the Republican lawmakers, herself included, who have enabled Donald Trump's lies and encouraged some of the violence that took place. So again, she is a conspiracy theorist. She's coming under fire from her own colleagues. Let's go to Jake Sherman's tweet where he says, bit more from the House GOP call. Boebert suggested Capitol Police officers were in on the riot. Nancy Mace responded by saying that she's angry at the lawmakers that got Congress to this point, and she's disappointed that the party is being led by QAnon conspiracy theorists. And of course, Boebert happens to fall under that category. And throughout the violence that was taking place on January 6th, she was tweeting out, literally live tweeting the whereabouts of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Let's give you two examples. She said, we were locked in the House chambers, and at one point she also tweeted, the speaker has been removed from the chambers. So that was incredibly irresponsible behavior. And again, it's not just about Boebert, it's about every Republican lawmaker who has lied to the American people about the reality of the election, who has enabled Donald Trump, who is engaged in these conspiracy theories. These are not people who are fit to be in positions of power in this country.
Yeah, wow, that last part, they are certainly not fit to be in power, and yet we're constantly led by these men, children who have no capacity to handle rational thought, apparently. And I was just taken aback by that B-roll footage of them removing the American flag and putting in the Trump flag. It's just so remarkable that we are dealing with people who believe that they are the height of patriotism, and yet they, well, for a second time in history, have tried to supplant the American flag with another one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, remember, these are people who love the Confederate flag. The Confederates were traitors to the country, but they love it. I mean, everything that they claim they are, it's the opposite. They're not patriots, they don't love the country. They're willing to do anything and everything to cheat, lie, steal, dismantle our democratic process just to keep their guy in charge, even as their guy has proven to be a massive failure, not just to the country overall, but even to his own supporters. I mean, what has Donald Trump done for the people who decided to breach the Capitol on January 6th? I mean, they're not, by the way, some of them are literally CEOs making, some of them are making six figures. We should be clear about who those people were, because I think far too often people are under the assumption that these are all like random, middle of the country, rural Americans who don't know any better. No, that is not the entirety of Trump's base. And there were people who are very well off engaging in the riots that took place last week.
Right, and and that's why whenever I talk about this, I always talk about this in context of both race and class, because let's be sure the people who had the time and the resources to get to Washington D.C. so that they can cosplay and climb the walls and just have like their big weekend adventure, that cost money. And so we oftentimes like to label all Republicans, somehow we think of them as working class, when most of them are probably upper middle class and certainly representative of the top 1%.
Yep, exactly. And look, if you want at least one easy solution to ending the organizing and funding that goes into this violence. Get rid of money in politics, but specifically dark money, because there was quite a bit of dark money that went into funding what occurred last week. And you read those details and it's infuriating because we could focus on solutions. We could focus on what's broken in this country and how all of this managed to happen, right, in plain view. I think it's right to bring up issues of race in addition to issues of class, because that does certainly play a role. And make no mistake about it, I mean, the fact that you had Capitol Police in some cases being incredibly friendly with these people. You also have the stories about how Capitol Police rejected any additional help. And aside from what happened in the Capitol, as we know through all the Black Lives Matter demonstrations that took place over the summer, I mean, the persecution toward those demonstrators who had a legitimate concern that they wanted solutions for, versus what we saw with these individuals engaging in, engaging in something that's undemocratic and unconstitutional, wanting to throw out the results of the presidential election because they don't like it, wanting to throw out our system of government because they didn't like the outcome of one presidential election. I mean, the thing that drives me crazy is people trying to draw these false equivalencies between the last summer and what we saw in the Capitol last week.
That stretched Armstrong level of, I don't even know how you can do that in good faith. And I'm thinking a lot of them just have accepted the fact that they're going to engage in bad faith with us.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think it's important to recognize when people are interested in having a fact-based discussion and debate versus people who don't care about the truth, don't care about the facts, do not engage in good faith, and you're just really wasting your time, trying to persuade them to see things the correct way.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.